Julienne Marie, the beggar, silent humility, dignified suffering, and the true wealth of consciousness. The testimony of the Spirit. Julienne Marie, known as the beggar, presented in the second part of Heaven and Hell, reveals with profound sensitivity how humility, resignation, and inner dignity can sustain consciousness even in extreme conditions of poverty and social exclusion. It is a narrative that definitively dismantles the association between spiritual value and material position. Julienne Marie manifests with serenity, lucidity, and a touching simplicity. In life, she experienced severe deprivations, hunger, abandonment, and social invisibility. However, her spiritual state is not one of revolt or bitterness. On the contrary, she demonstrates relative inner peace, gratitude, and an intuitive understanding of the meaning of the trials she faced. Her suffering existed, but it did not harden her morally. Modern depth psychology helps to understand this state. People facing extreme adversities can develop two opposing paths: resentment or resilience. When there is active acceptance, inner meaning, and well-integrated simple values, consciousness finds resources to navigate pain without self-destruction. On a spiritual level, these resources manifest as emotional balance and openness to learning. Spiritism clarifies that Julienne Marie's elevated state does not stem from poverty itself, but from the way she lived poverty. The material test was severe, but the inner response was dignified. She did not cultivate hatred, envy, or resentment against society or life. This intimate posture built a solid foundation for her spiritual condition after passing. Modern science reinforces this reading by showing that suffering does not, by itself, determine moral illness. What defines the psychological impact is the internal interpretation of the experience. Studies on resilience indicate that values such as acceptance, simple purpose, and human connection are decisive factors for emotional health, even in adverse contexts. Another essential point of this testimony is the complete inversion of social appearances. Those who were invisible in life reveal themselves to be spiritually richer than many who possessed comfort, status, and recognition. Spiritism highlights that true wealth is not in what one has, but in what one is. Consciousness does not carry possessions, it carries values. The report also exposes collective responsibility in the face of poverty. Although Julienne Marie faced her trial with dignity, this does not absolve society of its indifference. Spiritism does not glorify misery. It values the moral courage of those who confront it while calling others to the ethical responsibility of reducing the suffering of others. Julienne Marie is not exalted for suffering, but for not allowing suffering to transform her into resentment. Her example shows that spiritual greatness can flourish in the most forgotten places when consciousness remains true to simple values like humility, patience, and trust. This testimony brings a deeply current message. In a world still marked by extreme inequalities, it invites us to reconsider criteria for success, value, and dignity. Spirituality does not measure life by external achievements, but by the moral quality of the choices made in silence. Julienne Marie, the beggar, teaches us that no one is too small to be great spiritually. Suffering does not define the value of consciousness, the inner response does. Spiritual justice is not impressed by appearances, it recognizes the intimate truth of each being. Reflecting on this account is an invitation to active empathy and humility. Looking more humanely at the invisible, alleviating suffering when possible, and cultivating gratitude and simplicity are now concrete ways of spiritual growth. If this testimony helped you reflect on humility, dignity, and human value, like, share, and leave your comment. Your participation helps this message reach more people.